What started with a 115-ton experimental craft in 1901 became the world's largest and most feared underwater fleet. Today, we trace the complete evolution of Soviet and Russian submarines across every single era. This is the story of Russian submarine dominance, starting off with Imperial Russia's first underwater experiments, a time when submarines were considered death traps by most navies. Typhoon, Russia's very first submarine, launched in 1904. This 113-ton vessel was essentially a floating experiment, featuring a single-hull design and a dangerous gasoline engine. It sank during trials, was raised, and somehow kept serving. Kasaka class. Up next, an improvement over the Typhoon. These small coastal defense submarines featured better buoyancy control and electric motors for underwater propulsion. 5 were built between 1904 and 1905. Somme class. A Holland-type design purchased from America. These tiny 105-ton boats were cramped, unreliable, and taught Russian engineers what not to do. 6 were constructed. The next one, Lake-class submarines. Russia bought these directly from American inventor Simon Lake. They featured wheels for crawling along the seabed, which sounds innovative but proved completely impractical in combat. Herb class. Then came Russia's first domestically designed combat submarines. Armed with torpedoes and drop mines, the Karp class marked Russia's transition from imitating foreign designs to developing original concepts. Narval class. Continuing, these Lvov-type submarines introduced the saddle tank configuration. Better range and seakeeping meant Russia could finally project power beyond coastal waters. Now, this is the Bars class, the pride of the Imperial fleet. With a surface displacement of 650 tons and a top speed of 11 knots submerged, these were formidable predators for their era. 24 were built, making it Russia's first mass-produced submarine class. Several served throughout World War I, conducting patrols in the Baltic and Black Seas against German and Turkish forces. Let's move on to the Interwar period, where the new Soviet Union transformed submarines from experimental curiosities into instruments of naval power. Decabris class, Series I, the Soviet Union's first domestically designed submarine class. These medium-range boats featured improved diesel engines and a robust double-hull construction. 6 were completed between 1930 and 1931. Leninets class, Series II. Up next, a mine layer variant. With capacity for 38 mines and 6 torpedo tubes, these submarines combined offensive striking power with area denial capabilities. They became the backbone of Soviet coastal defense. Pravda class, Series IV. Then came the large ocean-going submarines. Displacing over 1,400 tons surface, these boats were designed for long-range operations and featured powerful diesel engines for 21-knot surface speed. Now, this is the Stuka class, Series III, V, and X, the legendary Pike. Nicknamed for its aggressive profile, this became the most numerous Soviet submarine of World War II. Over 86 were built between 1933 and 1941, serving in every Soviet fleet. Compact, reliable, and deadly with 4 bow torpedo tubes, the Stuka proved itself as a coastal hunter that could strike fast and disappear into the depths. Malyutka class, Series 6 and 15. Meet the baby. These tiny 160-ton coastal submarines were mass-produced like underwater T-34s. Cheap, simple, and easy to build, over 110 were constructed. They were basically swimming torpedoes with crews. K-class cruiser submarines, Series 14. The next one, absolutely massive for their time. Displacing 1,500 tons submerged with 10 torpedo tubes and 2 deck guns. These were intended as commerce raiders. 14 were built, though their size made them sluggish divers. S-class, Series 9. Continuing, the most successful Soviet submarine design of the era. The S stood for Srednyaya, meaning medium. Balanced, reliable, and combat-proven. 41 were constructed and many became aces during the coming war. Now let's look at World War II and the crucial transition period that followed. M-class wartime variants. Production continued throughout the war. These small submarines conducted dangerous missions in the Baltic and Black Seas, often operating in minefields where larger boats couldn't go. S-class wartime service. The S-class became the workhorse of the Soviet submarine fleet. Boats like S, 13 sank the German liner Wilhelm Gustloff, while S-56 completed the longest submarine voyage of the war from the Pacific to the Arctic. L-class submarines, Series 11. Then came the large mine layers. Each could carry 20 mines plus torpedoes, creating deadly underwater barriers. 20 were built just before and during the war. Captured technology integration. Following Germany's defeat, the Soviets captured Type XXI and Type XXII U-boats. These revolutionary streamlined designs changed everything Soviet engineers thought they knew about submarine design. Up next, the post-war transformation begins. Whiskey class, Project 613. Now, this is the boat that rebuilt Soviet naval power. A direct evolution of captured German Type XXI technology combined with Soviet engineering, the Whiskey became the most produced submarine class of the early Cold War. Between 1951 and 1958, 236 were constructed. With 6 torpedo tubes and a streamlined hull, these medium-range hunters prowled the Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Pacific. Several were exported to Soviet allies, spreading underwater capability worldwide. Zulu class, Project 611. Meet the long-range patrol submarine. Larger than the Whiskey, the Zulu could conduct extended ocean patrols and was later modified to carry ballistic missiles. 26 were built, proving the Soviets could match Western submarine endurance. Quebec class, Project 615. Then came a spectacular failure. These submarines used closed-cycle hydrogen peroxide engines for extended underwater endurance. The technology was too dangerous, too complex, and too expensive. The project was quickly abandoned after only 30 were built. Romeo class, Project 633. Continuing, an improved Whiskey variant. Quieter, faster, and more reliable. 20 served in the Soviet fleet while many more were exported to China, North Korea, and Egypt. Gulf class, Project 629. The next one marked a revolution. The Gulf was the Soviet Union's first ballistic missile submarine, carrying 3 R-11FM missiles in an extended sail. 23 were built, giving the USSR its first credible sea-based nuclear deterrent. Now, this is the Foxtrot class, Project 641, the most famous diesel-electric submarine of the Cold War. With exceptional range, quieter operation, and 10 torpedo tubes, the Foxtrot became the ultimate conventional submarine. 75 were built between 1958 and 1971. These boats conducted worldwide patrols, shadowed NATO fleets, and became infamous during the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Soviet Foxtrot submarines nearly triggered nuclear war. Export versions served in India, Cuba, and Libya for decades. Continue watching to see the massive nuclear giants of the Cold War. But before those giants, meet the November class, Project 627, the boat that changed naval warfare forever. Commissioned in 1958, K-3 Leninsky Komsomol became the Soviet Union's first nuclear-powered submarine. No longer dependent on battery power, these boats could remain submerged indefinitely, sprint at 30 knots underwater, and hunt enemy carriers across entire oceans. 13 were built, and though plagued by reactor problems and radiation leaks, the November proved nuclear submarines were the future. One completed the first Soviet under-ice transit to the North Pole in 1962. Hotel class, Project 658. Up next, nuclear power meets ballistic missiles. These boats combined November-class propulsion with Gulf-class missile capability, creating the USSR's first true nuclear deterrent submarines. 8 were built, carrying 3 R-13 missiles each. Continuing with the Cold War era, where Soviet submarine construction reached industrial scale and technological supremacy. Echo I class, Project 659, the first nuclear cruise missile submarines. Armed with 6 massive P-5 missiles launched from the surface, these boats were designed to obliterate American aircraft carrier groups. 5 were built. Echo II class, Project 675. Then came the improved version, carrying 8 P-6 anti-ship cruise missiles in angled launch tubes. 29 Echo IIs became the bane of NATO surface fleets throughout the Cold War. Victor I class, Project 671. Meet the Hunter. These sleek nuclear attack submarines were designed specifically to kill American Polaris submarines. Fast, deep diving, and armed with torpedoes and mines, 15 were built between 1967 and 1974. Victor II class, Project 671RT. The next one, slightly stretched to accommodate additional sonar equipment. 7 were constructed with improved quieting measures, though they remain noisier than American contemporaries. Victor III class, Project 671 RTMK. Continuing, the refined version. 26 were built with significantly quieter machinery, making them the first Soviet submarines that could compete acoustically with NATO boats. Charlie class, Project 670. Up next, a compact cruise missile submarine. Smaller than the Echo but carrying 8 P-70 missiles internally, these boats combined stealth with striking power. 17 served in the Northern and Pacific fleets. Now, this is the Alfa class, Project 705, the most radical submarine ever built. Constructed from titanium alloy with an automated reactor requiring only 31 crew members, the Alfa could dive to 2,300 feet and sprint at 41 knots submerged. It was a liquid metal-cooled nuclear reactor wrapped in a titanium shell, making it faster and deeper diving than anything NATO possessed. 7 were built between 1971 and 1983, terrifying Western submariners who simply couldn't match its performance. The technology proved too expensive and complex for mass production, but the Alfa demonstrated what was possible when engineering constraints were ignored. Sierra class, Project 945. Then came the Alfa's practical successor, still using titanium hulls, but with conventional reactors and larger crews, for Sierra's combined extreme diving depth with real operational capability. Akula class, Project 971. Meet NATO's nightmare. Finally achieving acoustic parity with American Los Angeles-class submarines, the Akula became the ultimate Cold War hunter. 15 were built, with advanced soundproofing, powerful sensors, and a full weapons load of torpedoes and cruise missiles. These boats remain in service today. Yankee class, Project 667A. Up next, the first modern ballistic missile submarine. Carrying 16 R-27 missiles, 34 Yankees provided the Soviet Union with credible second strike capability throughout the 1970s. Delta class, Project 667B/BD/BDR/BDRM. Continuing, the evolution continues. 4 Delta variants carried progressively longer-range missiles, allowing them to patrol safely under Arctic ice while threatening American cities. Over 40 were built, forming the backbone of Soviet strategic deterrence. Oscar class, Project 949. Then came the carrier killers. These massive cruise missile submarines displaced 24,000 tons submerged and carried 24 P-700 Granite missiles designed specifically to overwhelm American carrier battle groups. 14 were built, including the ill-fated Kursk. Now, this is the Typhoon class, Project 941, the largest submarine ever constructed. Displacing 48,000 tons submerged with a length of 574 feet, the Typhoon was a submerged battleship. Its catamaran hull contained 2 complete pressure hulls side by side, housing 20 R-39 ballistic missiles and a crew of 160. 6 were built between 1981 and 1989, each capable of destroying 200 targets independently. The Typhoon appeared in movies, video games, and became the iconic symbol of Soviet submarine power. Though expensive to operate, with only one remaining in service today, nothing has matched its sheer size and capability. Tango class, Project 641B. The next one, the last conventional patrol submarine. 18 were built as improved Foxtrots, serving into the 1990s before retirement. Kilo class, Project 877. Meet the most successful submarine export in history. Over 60 were built for the Soviet and Russian navies, with dozens more sold to India, China, Iran, Algeria, and Vietnam. Quiet, reliable, and deadly with 6 torpedo tubes and mine-laying capability, the Kilo remains in production today. And our last category is the modern era, where Russia rebuilt its submarine fleet from near collapse to renewed strength. Improved Kilo class, Project 636.3. The modernized version features improved quieting, upgraded electronics, and caliber cruise missile capability. These boats conducted strikes against Syrian targets in 2015, proving conventional submarines remain relevant in modern warfare. Lada class, Project 677. Up next, Russia's attempt at a next-generation diesel-electric. Advanced air-independent propulsion and improved sensors promised revolutionary capability, but technical problems limited production. Only 2 are currently operational. Boryai class, Project 955. Now, this is Russia's modern nuclear deterrent. Carrying 16 Bulava ballistic missiles with multiple warheads, these stealthy submarines ensure Russia maintains credible second strike capability. 10 are planned, with 6 currently operational. The Boryai combines Western-style quieting with traditional Russian robustness, creating a platform that can patrol undetected for months beneath Arctic ice. They represent the future of Russian strategic power. Boryai A variant, Project 955A. The refined version features improved sensors and slightly better acoustic signature. 5 are under construction or in service, incorporating lessons learned from earlier hulls. Yazan class, Project 885. Meet Russia's most advanced attack submarine. These multi-mission boats combine ballistic missile submarine size with attack submarine versatility, carrying 32 Onyx and caliber cruise missiles plus torpedoes. The Yazan is quieter than any previous Russian design and incorporates Western construction techniques. 8 are planned, with 3 currently operational. NATO considers these boats peer competitors to American Virginia-class submarines, a remarkable achievement after decades of acoustic inferiority. Yazan M variant, Project 885M. Then came the improved version. With reduced cost and construction time, 7 Yazan MS are under construction, forming the backbone of Russia's future attack submarine fleet. Belgorod, Project 09852. The next one, a mystery wrapped in titanium. This modified Oscar-class submarine carries Poseidon nuclear-powered torpedoes and the Losherik deep-diving mini-submarine. Commissioned in 2022, its exact capabilities remain classified, but Western analysts believe it can deploy seabed sensors and cut undersea cables. Special mission submarines. Continuing, Russia operates several unique boats. AS-12 Losherik dives to extreme depths for intelligence gathering, while BS-64 Pod Moscovy serves as a mothership for special operations submarines. The Husky class, also called Laika, Russia's 5th-generation nuclear attack submarine. Promising reduced acoustic signature, modular weapons systems, and optional unmanned capability, the Husky represents Russia's vision for submarine warfare through 2050, ensuring the evolution that began with Delphin continues into an uncertain future.